Well, hello. It is Tishan, um, aka Nine Coins here on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in to another video. Before I get started, I just wanted to just express my gratitude to everyone who watched my last video in which I shared about an oracle deck that I created using my own original photography. I really appreciated the positive responses. It really made me feel good. It was a confidence booster. And one of the things, especially like if you're a creative or if you're an artist of any kind, is getting over the hump of just sharing your art with the world for better or for worse. And so this was really an encouraging moment for me to kind of take that next step and and share. So for those, well, not many people know, but so I do photography. I've been doing photography for the last few years. I've done it semi-professionally as part of my communications work, but I've leaned more into the hobby side of it in the last like 4 years or so. Before that, I'm a playwright. I'm a writer. I'm a published playwright, and that seems a bit easier for me. But even when I go back to when I got my first play commissioned, I was a bit nervous about sharing my work if people thought it was good. And after that first moment and having my work well received, I was able to just jump right in. And I feel like I'm at that moment again when it comes to my photography because I show a little bit here and a little bit there, but I haven't really been like, hey, I'm a photographer. Here is my work. And so this this new, I guess, stage for me in this Oracle deck is a part of that journey. And I just think everyone who's interested in just kind of like hopping on this little ride that I got going here. So suffice to say that yes, I'll be working on making this available. I don't kind of just want to toss it up on NPC. I want to create a little bit more materials around the deck. So just stay tuned. I'll probably be sharing more about it when I get to that point. But just again, thank you. All right. So today I wanted to do a flip through with just some initial feedback on a new deck I received. This is the Ancestral Healing Tarot deck. Here is the tuck box, and it is a deck created and both the writing and the art is created by Elia Diane Bekene, also known as Care. They go by they, them. Um, and it has been produced by Flower Press. So I'll link that information below. And I actually first saw this deck, and I'll link the video of it, but I first saw this deck on Ikali Sunflower, aka B, on YouTube, and I was like, "What is this?" It is a collage deck, and it centers African ancestry and Native American or indigenous ancestries as well. And I think I even saw some South Asian representation in this deck. So there's a lot to really chew on and work with in this collage deck, and a variety of very interesting images. Some of which I have seen before in collage decks, but others I have not. So it actually is really refreshing. I feel like as far as collage decks go, but I don't want to get too much into it. I just want to flip through, and then I did have some comments after. So the guidebook is available through a QR code. It's an electronic guidebook, and Elia has written a lot about the purpose of the deck, which I think is really useful. They also have a photography background, which I really connected to, and they noted in the guidebook how fascinated they were by the use of photography. And you know, I feel like my journey with accessing tarot through photography is so ironic in that I do genuinely love photography, but as far back as maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I didn't really see photography decks as a part of my tarot reading practice. I didn't think I could read with photography, and it wasn't until I got the Tarot of Bohemian Secrets, also known as the Ghetto Tarot, that I was like kind of surprising myself with how good I can read with photography decks and how they were still able to resonate with me, even when seeing real life subjects portrayed in the pictures, and how they have a capacity to offer just so much information, so much data. It's very rich, that type of media form. And so if you can do it and do it well, I think now, this is 3 months later to Sean saying, I think that, photography very much is a wonderful way to convey the archetypes of the tarot. So, some things to note before I get flippin'. Before I get flippin' is that, and this is also another exception to my rule as far as cards that I typically enjoy, but the titles of the cards have changed, or the suits have changed. So wands are now fire, swords are air, cups are water, pentacles are earth. The court cards have also changed name. Um, uh, Pages are earth, knights are air, queens are water, kings are fire. Um, and so there's a heavy use of the elements. Elements are very present in this deck. And there is an emphasis on degendering the court cards, um, which I think Elia explains a little bit about the why of that in the guidebook. There's also 5 extra cards, one for each of the 5 elements: spirit, water, fire, air, and earth, that are also on the deck. All right, so these are the backs. And the cardstock is, it's matte. Um, and it's very like, I think it's like a waterproof material. It feels good. I think for me, I feel like I need to take better, like it seems high quality such that I feel like I can't riffle them as hard. I don't want to. Um, but that's just me. All right, let's turn these bad boys around. Per usual, I will say things when I want to say them, but otherwise, we're just flipping through. Oh, so right off the bat, um, I noticed that both the Fool and the Magician contain the same character, and I actually kind of like that, in that, one, if you imagine the Fool being at the last of the major arcana, as some tarot decks do, especially in, I think, either, is it the Thoth style? Or maybe in some Marseille, the Fool is listed after the world as a part of a return or a cycle, ending and beginning. Um, I think it's really cool. But beyond that, I love how you can envision yourself as your own magician. The inner knowledge that you're about to um, gain on this journey is knowledge of yourself and from yourself. So I thought that was really cool. So I need to do a video on like cards that sold me on a deck. But if I would probably like include this card as being the one that was like, oh my gosh, what is this deck? I have to have it. This is the Empress card. Empress is one of my birth cards, and this is Josephine Baker. Love it. Harriet Tubman as the Hierophant, very appropriate. I love that the lovers are elders. You have your third element here of the snake. I love that the lion is roaring. A lot of times when we see the lion or the creature in the strength card. They're docile, but I think this shows that strength is not just about pacification, but it's also about wielding. So taking what is strong and fierce about the lion and wielding it to your own machinations. I love that the hermit is not carrying the light source, but has to make its way toward it. I love that the Justice card is represented by water. I think water, and also I guess you can argue this for all of the natural elements. Water is the the element of justice, in that it can both be a life giver and a life destroyer. It is both a destructive force and a creative force at the same time. It's very equalizing. Our lovers are back ensnared by the devil. Very vibrant tower card. This world card is everything to me. It reminds me of my own time as a child getting my hair done by my mother. You know, I would sit on the floor between her legs and hold up. I had all my barrettes in like that Dutch cookies tin, and she would, you know, take the barrettes and put them in my hair. And this was a part of our, you know, routine. It was ritual. And I think, I don't know about other cultures, but I know for Black American women, this is very much a part of childhood and also the forging of relationships between mother and daughter. So I just love that they chose to highlight this aspect as the world. And here we have our spirit card. I'm going to pull these out because I'm not sure if I'll see a need for them in the deck, but I'll just add them to my growing collection of just extra cards. Here we have, may this deck help you move through and reconcile with the greatest pains of displacement, search for belonging, nostalgia, and homesickness. May you get close enough to your fears to allow them to turn into the fiercest companions, the most patient friends, the wisest guides. May you realize you've always belonged to your ancestry's hearts. May this deck become a portal to ancestral healing, as it has been for me. You're precious. I really want to meet the creator. They seem really cool and a beautiful writer. Like the writing that they have in this guidebook and in the cards is just really well done. Our fire card here. I love that the two of fire, two of wands is represented by two people, one looking hesitant, the other looking forward. There definitely shows between these two people a sense of indecision or misalignment, ambivalence. There we go. Here we have our page as earth. Night. Water, or fire. I have a theory of like the depictions of the element of the suit and the element of the court card. And like if you for example, like water of fire, for me that's like a combination of water and fire, which makes steam, which is where this comes from. And then air of fire, so this person looks like they're in a desert, so like heat. I don't know, I could be wrong, but we'll see if it plays itself all the way through. I guess maybe not, I don't know. Let's see, fire here, air card, the swords are arrows. So this is not just rest, but it looks like it's supplication, surrender, submission. Some scenes are a bit more pippish than others. See how like the fire of air is like a lightning bolt? Like that's why I'm like, sometimes I can see it and sometimes I can't. Like the combination of those elements. Here we have the water card. You can see it's very Rider-Waite-Smith, but there are some ways where you're like, oh, that is a clone of a Pixie scene. And then there are other ones where it's like you can definitely see the Rider-Waite-Smith influence, but it's depicted in a very creative way. I love the presence of indigenous peoples in this deck. I don't think, I'm trying to think of a collage style deck that incorporates um, this much representation from indigenous peoples. Our Earth card. Earth is represented by golden pears, which I love. I think that's so fanciful. I love this Six of Earth or Six of Pentacles. Just because for me, Six of Pentacles is a community card. It's all for me. It's all about our social awareness and our contributions to community. This is a very interesting card. So it looks like there are native people in a trail, you know, and in the Americas, I know that there have been huge waves of displacement of Native Americans, especially in the mid to late 19th centuries. But also, too, what this trail says to me is that, you know, we may be not where we were, but there are parts of us that linger on. We are still here. You know, we're here in our descendants. We're here, you know, like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to reflect more on this card. Yeah. I need to get the name of, actually, let me see if it's in the guidebook. Because people who do collage decks, they use this person um, all the time. I've seen this in quite a few, this their image in quite a few tarot decks. Let me see if I can scroll up and find it real quick. There's also some astrological associations in the guidebook too, if that's your jam. I'm not really delve into that too much in tarot for me. Oh, they don't mention who it is. Okay. Now that's my homework. I'm gonna figure out who this person is. It's someone significant and notable. I think they are, or at the time, they were female identified, but they're often depicted in this masculine presentation. Oh, what is this? Anyway, um, let's pull a card. Let's pull a card and read from the book so you can get a sense of what's in the book. Wow, they shuffle really. I'm so excited to shuffle this. I've been holding back because I knew that I wanted to show it to you all, but I really wanted to get into this deck. Ooh, love it. High Priestess. Yes, it can focus a little bit better on the High Priestess. All right, High Priestess. Okay, here we go. Energy 2, the moon, upright, embodied intuition, sacred witnessing, stillness, clairvoyance, reversed, lack of self-trust, disconnection from our inner world. Knowing often gives us a sense of safety, security, and control over uncertainty. Intuition, on the other hand, invites us to drop into the body, bringing the mind and emotions into synchronistic alignment with the heart. From there, we can, beyond finding answers, ask better questions. When we align our mind to be in service of the wisdoms of our body, the land, and our ancestry, we realize that all the answers we need can be found within and will be revealed to us when we are ready. Affirmation. Things always fall into their own place, not mine, when I allow myself to trust my intuition and nurture ancestral connection. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So, yeah, I think my initial thoughts um, with this deck is I'm glad that I have it. I think when it comes to collage decks, I think I'm satisfied with where I am at right now with collage decks. Just after I had ordered this, my Serpent Fire Tarot that I pre-ordered way back in like I don't know March or April finally came in, and so I feel like now I have a really good collection of collage decks. I'm good, right? Like this is I'm in a good place. I'm not hungry for any more right now. Um, but I really love the mixture of African, indigenous, and I really feel like I saw some like South Asian, Southeast Asian depictions as well. I also think too what's refreshing about this deck is that um, when it comes to the time periods of these images, it's not just sometimes when we think about ancestral, we go like way back or we depict, especially when it comes to Africans, tribal affiliations and the cultural dress. Um, and what you see here is there's a definitive Americanness in a lot of these images. Also, like either turn of the century or mid-century. Let me point it out if I can. So yes, you have some of this, um, but then you have this here, and then let me see. I think my favorite, one of my favorite cards is, I think it was the ten of either the Ten of Cups or the Ten of Pentacles. I think it was the Ten of Cups, in which they were all like watching this couple Lindy Hop. If I hope I can draw the card and pull it for you. But and also too, this deck feels like a really balanced energy in terms of the masculine and the feminine. I have been thinking about comparing this to Mansel's Tarot, and one of the things that I noticed about Mansel's Tarot is that it is very masculine in energy for me, which is why I was using it and then I had to take a break from using it because I started to disconnect from it because I was like, whoa, like it just seemed very masculine at times. But this collage deck seems to have a better balance of energy. There are more not feminine presenting bodies in this deck compared to Mansell, and not to really just compare it to Mansell, but like I don't know, this is something I noticed as like they're similar in the type of tarot and the digital collage as a format, but the energies are just so different. So, with that being said, I am again happy to have it. I'm also happy to support a queer creative of color, and also by doing so, support a small independent press. And once for once in my life, take a break from Amazon. uh, and yeah, I'm excited to dive in and read from it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this deck. Is this something that you want to explore? I know that we're coming up on Halloween and we're coming up on All Saints Day. I'm very starting to get really like I'm trying to figure out like, okay, what am I going to do this year for my folks, and wondering if this deck is going to be a part of my practice around this time. Is this something that you see yourself using as far as your ancestral communication and strengthening your ancestral relationships? Let me know down below. If you like what you saw, please leave a like. And if you haven't already done so, try subscribing. I don't know if you want. All right, let me go. I hope everyone has a wonderful week and bye bye.